This video is specifically for e-commerce business owners and marketers who are looking to create high quality and effective email campaigns in around 2 to 4 hours per week. I'm going to show you today what type of campaigns to send, how often to send them, the 80/20 rule of creating email campaigns, our process for building high converting campaigns from scratch, plus receipts to actually back this up, our 23-point quality assurance checklist to make sure that you never make mistakes, 7 campaign templates based on best practices, and then how to build them as well. I'm going to also build an email for Patagonia live. I'm going to do the copywriting and design for it. I'm going to show you how to actually build the same templates inside of Figma, how to export emails from Figma, and then also I'm going to show you creating a campaign live inside of Klaviyo as well. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Nolan Butler. I've spent more than half a decade doing email marketing now. The first campaign I ever sent was in high school and it made $50,000. I moved full time into e-commerce email marketing over the past year after I just saw the amount of generic information and thought I could help. Co-founded Tycamp Partners with my fiance Shay Caudell. You can see her on the left there in that picture. And I graduated magna cum laude from Ithaca College in 2023 with a degree in marketing and wealth management. And I live in upstate New York, and you can see Shay and I right there. So basically, we don't charge for information, we charge for execution. I only make money if my clients make money, and that's just how it should be. I'm not going to sell you a course. I'm going to try and provide as much value as possible and learn along the way myself. So what am I going to use in this video? I'm going to use these presentation slides that I'm going over right here. I'm going to show you some Google Docs that I have with some information. I'm going to show you a Miro board. I'm also going to jump right inside of Klaviyo, and I'm going to show you things like templates. I'm going to show you universal content, and I'm also going to go over Klaviyo campaigns inside of Klaviyo there. And then finally, I'm going to use Figma as well, and I'll probably use ChatGPT to show you some things for writing copy as well. So here are the 3 biggest problems that e-commerce brands are facing right now. Number 1, customer acquisition costs are skyrocketing. CAC is skyrocketing. It doesn't really matter where you're spending money on ads. It could be Facebook, it could be Google, it could be TikTok. Ad costs are up across the board. Overall, there's also more competition, more people vying for the same amount of eyeballs, which is leading to less efficiency with ads as well. And then this stat right here is pretty significant. Over the last 10 years, customer acquisition costs have risen by 222%. And so it's just getting higher and higher. Number 2, profit margins are getting crushed. So like we just talked about, ad spend is up, but shipping and logistic costs are also rising. Not to mention product costs, not to mention any other thing that are out of your control, basically. And then also discounts and promo wars are ripping into average order value or AOV. And the result here is that you make less even when you sell more. And number 3, customer lifetime value is too low. So most brands have a one and done relationship. They get the first sale and then they don't really do anything after that. So if my saying here is if you can't get the second sale, you'll never scale. High customer acquisition costs plus low CLTV equals a slow death spiral. So what's the translation here and what does this really mean? Basically, you're spending more to make less and losing customers after one sale. While ads are necessary, and they are necessary, you can't have a business without ads. The most profitable brands aren't winning with more ads. They're winning with better retention, and it starts here with email marketing. So why is email still the number 1 revenue channel in 2025? Well, depending on who you ask or what article you read, you'll find a $36 to $42 average return on investment for every $1 spent on email marketing. Also, 93% of consumers check their email daily, with 35% of consumers spending up to 5 hours in their inboxes every single day. Also, the average e-commerce store is getting 25 to 35% of total revenue from email, with top brands getting 40 to 50%. Why does it beat every other channel? You own your list. There's no algorithm. You basically control the algorithm here. There's no ad spend surge. Nothing is going to basically increase your costs overnight rapidly, unless you somehow got 100,000 new subscribers in one night. You basically control a lot of the variables with email marketing, and that's what makes it so powerful. Also, you can automate and personalize at scale with email marketing, and that's not something we're really going to talk about today as much, but that's has a lot to do with automated flows. I've made a different video on that that you could check out. But also, it's the highest lifetime value driving channel, hands down. And emails is really where you're going to get those repeat sales and where you're going to jack that lifetime value, that LTV up. Email makes you money predictably and repeatedly. You learn to do it right, and if you learn to do it right, you can turn 2 hours a week into 5 figures a month. Relatively simply here. So most brands treat email like garbage. They literally treat email like garbage. And it blows my mind. And that's kind of the reason that I jumped into e-commerce email marketing was I just saw how many brands were just putting it on the back burner, not really paying too much attention to it. And I literally received an email yesterday from a brand. They sell high ticket coffee machines. So they have expensive products. They likely sell to like professional people. And they probably want to portray themselves as like a professional brand, right? They literally forgot to add a link into anywhere in the email. Like there was literally no link. You couldn't go anywhere off the email. And they wanted you to. They had a landing page that they wanted to send you to and everything. But they actually had to resend the same email campaign like an hour later, again with the link. In the subject line, it was like this time with the link or something like that. It was literally like they were just treating it like garbage. Any for a brand like that, like an email campaign could drive $10,000 in sales, and they treat it like garbage like that. This literally kills all hopes of getting conversions, and it also just hurts your brand reputation like crazy. Unfortunately, I receive emails like this literally every single day. I see emails like this, and it's astonishing, really. So here I'm going to talk about the 80-20 rule of high converting email campaigns. If you had to do just two things with your email campaigns, just do these two things right here. If you had to focus on two things. So number one is one big idea. So you want to focus on just having one core message per email. You don't want to confuse people. You don't want to clutter your email with a bunch of stuff because it's actually going to reduce the amount of conversions, reduce the amount of click rate, despite what you might think. So if you put like three different things in one email, it actually is going to confuse customers and uh, they're just going to click less. And I see this all the time. You'll scroll for days on an email and there will be 100 different things that you click on. You could be like join our loyalty program. It could be shop this product, shop that product. It could be sign up for our direct mail list or SMS list or something like, and it's like just keeps going and people like don't do anything with it and they wonder why they're not getting results. So think here like one FAQ per email. And I know that seems like pretty crazy, but you could literally take one FAQ off your website and create an entire email about it. And it could be a beautiful looking email. It really could be. And it'll be effective as well. You'll get your point across. It's not about giving in your entire brand message in one email. It's about slowly giving that brand message over time. And that's just how you have to do it if you want to do it effectively. Another example could be like a product spotlight or just a simple sale. The second thing that you can focus on here is a large call to action or CTA above the fold of the email. So what does this mean? This means when you open an email and right when you open an email, exactly what you see without scrolling anywhere, that's above the fold. So once you scroll, that's below the fold. Above the fold is when you have not scrolled or anything yet. So you want to make sure you have a large CTA above the fold in every email. And what this really means comes down to is having a big button in your email. So big, bold, and clear. If you're not sure if you made your button big enough, make it bigger. That's just going to increase conversions every single time. So like I said, a button or link in the first scroll here. So no one should ever have to search for what to do. Why does this work? You remove friction, and brands literally just add friction to their emails. You remove friction, you increase action, and you keep the TikTok brain focused. So a lot of people just have the TikTok brain right now. Like they just want to keep getting instant gratification. They want to just keep getting dopamine, releasing videos into their feed, and you have like not that long to catch their attention. So if you're not sure it's clear, here's the test right here. So this is the test that we use right here. So you should be able to show this email to your 8-year-old niece and your 80-year-old grandpa, and they should both tell you exactly what the email is all about in one sentence. And if they can't, it's too complicated. Like you literally want to just dumb your email down super hard, create one big concept, have big CTA in the email. So don't try to say 5 things in one email. I'm going to reiterate this point here. Say one thing really loud, really clear, and give people one thing to click. Obviously, you could put multiple CTAs in the email as you're scrolling, but they should all go to the same place. So here's a receipt right here. So plus 100% revenue with one email, the Halloween campaign that crushed. So we had just started working with a brand, and this was the very first campaign that we'd ever sent. It was a Halloween promo built in under an hour. It literally took us an hour to build, and it immediately outperformed every other email that they'd ever run by a mile. And here's the stats right here. So uh, the metrics here that we were tracking was revenue, click rate, and open rate. These are the ones that we saw here. And this was the Halloween campaign, the best campaign. This is the first campaign that we actually ever sent within their account. It made $7,211.21. It got a 4.29% click rate and almost a 60% open rate. The next best campaign in their Klaviyo account, and this was over years, did 3,600 in revenue, had a 2.65% click rate, and a 47.56% open rate there. So what did we do? We increased their revenue. We had a percentage increase in revenue of 99.99%, or just basically 100% increase in revenue from their next best campaign. We had a 61.89% increase in click rate from their next best campaign, and a 22.49% percentage increase in open rate compared to their next best campaign. So that's 2x the revenue, 60% more clicks, and 22% more opens from one campaign written in under an hour. And you can see right here a screenshot from the Klaviyo account that we took. So why did this email work? I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to pull up the campaign because that would just be kind of infringing on our client here, but I'll give you basically the synopsis of it. So why it worked, the anatomy of a killer campaign, and this really is the anatomy of it. So again, one big idea. We had a 5-word hero section, hero headline section. It was literally 5 words long. It said Halloween sale or something like this. Like it didn't say this, but it was something like this. It was literally 5 words long. We had a scroll stopping visual. So what we did was we actually had an interactive GIF in the hero section with basically like animated spiders. They were like coming down from the top of the email and going back up and stuff like that. So immediate attention grabber there. Number 3, we had above the fold CTA. So we had a big button. It was instantly visible. You could clearly see what the goal of the email was. It was contrasting colors, so you could tell what was going on. No scrolling was needed here. If somebody landed on the email, they could immediately take action and understand what had to happen. Number 4, we had built-in urgency. So the text below the CTA here was something like offer ends whenever, at date, at time. So we had offer ends at date, at time. So basically like offer ends October 31st at midnight. And this was a very visual heavy word light email. And that's kind of how you want to do it. You want to have your email to be like under 100 words if possible. Focused on top 3 selling collections. And what we did was we just had this hero section. We had like a little bit of a body section, and then we showed the top 3 selling collections on their website. It was designed to be skimmed, not studied. So people don't read emails; they glance at them. And you've got basically 3 seconds to catch their attention. Like I said, the TikTok brain, you have like 2 to 3 seconds to catch their attention. So you need to make it count every single time. So how did we actually build that campaign? Not just creatively, I'm talking like structure, process, speed. Let me actually show you the exact framework that we use every single week to create winning emails like this in 2 to 4 hours per week max. So this right here is our we call it the peak system. I'm going to jump into a Miro board and kind of break down specifically one part of it. So just to kind of give you a high level overview here, we have at the top the title here, and then what we do over here on this side up top is we show you how to set up Shopify, basically to just be optimized for email. We then show you how to set up Klaviyo on this side. On this side we do tech stack, list growth, automated flows. Here we go, campaigns. So that's what we'll go over today. Deliverability, segmentation, and then finally strategy. So we're going to focus strictly here on campaigns today. So let's jump into the Miro board, like I said, and let's see here. So we're going to scroll down to campaigns specifically, and here we go. Within campaigns here, we have 3 different things basically. So we have email campaigns, we have SMS campaigns, and we have in-app push notifications. So I'm not really going to cover in-app push notifications too much today. If you have an app, you know what I'm talking about. What I'm going to cover today specifically is email, and I'm going to talk a little bit about SMS as well. When it comes to email campaigns, you're going to be wanting to, if you're doing over $1 million in revenue per year with your e-commerce store, you're going to want to be sending 3 to 4 a week, 3 to 4 email campaigns a week. And I know some people like wince at this number. They think, oh, I'm just gonna burn all my subscribers out, and there's gonna be nobody left. Well, yes, you might get a little bit more unsubscribes, but you're also going to get a lot more revenue. And you have to couple this with the fact that you're going to have an optimized pop-up as well to grow your list consistently over time. And so the amount of people that are going to unsubscribe compared to the amount of revenue is that you're going to make is actually not as bad of a ratio as you think. So you're really not going to get that many people to unsubscribe as long as you do it correctly, and you're doing it effectively here. And so you're going to be wanting to send 3 to 4 campaigns, email campaigns per week. And I'm not going to touch on the actual like ideation of that because I think that's something for like a separate video here. But basically, a high level breakdown, you're going to be wanting to send 70% of these emails as like value emails, like entertainment style emails, educational style emails, how-tos, anything like that. And then 30% of the emails are going to be sales oriented. So those are going to be like sales, any like site-wide sales you're doing, any product promos or anything like that. And then so 70% value, 30% sales, 3 to 4 a week or 12 to 16 a month is kind of the sweet spot there. And that's where we've seen the biggest balance between engagement and revenue. So when it comes to SMS campaigns, you're going to be wanting to send 1 to 2 a week. And if you really had to boil it down, do one per week. Try to focus on one per week. SMS is a little bit more expensive to send, and you have to kind of consider some other factors, which we'll go over as well. But 1 to 2 a week, I would say stick to two if do 2 a week if you're going to do like some product promotion or it's like a heavy sale or something like that. And then the type here is you just want to focus on 100% sales oriented messages through SMS. There's really no point in sending like value SMSs. You can't really fit enough characters on the actual SMS to make it anything that would be really valuable. So you just want to stick to 100% sales oriented messages here, especially in your campaigns. So the rules here when it comes to SMS are these are the rules that I follow. These aren't like set in stone rules. These are the rules that I follow to, number one, save money on Klaviyo costs, but number two, just make every single SMS that we send as effective as possible. So the first thing here is we don't include any images within our SMS messages. So if you include an image in your SMS message, it's going to take it from 1 Klaviyo credit per SMS send to 3 Klaviyo credits per SMS send. It's going to basically take it from an SMS to an MMS, which is going to be more expensive to send. And so we don't include any images because we don't think that adding an image, and what we've tested is that adding an image does not 3x conversions. So why would you spend 3x on that SMS message? That's just kind of our thinking around that. We also leave it at 160 character max, including everything. That's including the copy, that's including the link, that's including the opt-out message and everything. So 160 character max, that's what we leave it at. If you go above 160 characters, again, you're getting into more credits used per SMS send, and we just kind of stick to the 1 credit. We try to stick to that 1 credit there. The next thing that we don't do is we don't include any emojis or special characters because that's, again, going to increase your cost per send. And then we abide by this TCPA SMS quiet hours every single time. So you want to make sure you do this just to stay like kind of legal compliant. Basically, do not send any SMS messages between 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. That's just how you're going to stay compliant there legally. And so that's kind of the funnel there for campaigns. That's like the high level information that you need to know for campaigns there. What it's going to do now is it's all going to funnel down into here, and we're going to go through actually building out the email inside of Klaviyo and also doing the copywriting and stuff like that. So the first thing we have here is the copywriting. And what you're going to want to do here is if you can use AI prompts with ChatGPT. We've got a bunch of AI prompts that we use for our top templates. We've basically created a couple of Klaviyo templates based on super best practices in email marketing, and we also created AI prompts based on that. But you don't need that. Just sit down, write a campaign. It's not that hard. Like I said, it's under 100 words. You don't have to write a novel here. You're not writing a novel. Just make sure your grammar is correct, make sure all your spelling is correct, and just write like a simple email. It does not matter. It's not that hard. Um, like I said, you can do this in 2 to 4 hours per week. So take 30 minutes and write a couple of emails. It's not that hard. Um, and then the next thing we have is design. And what we like to do here for efficiency is just to have templates. Um, and I'll show you what I mean here by that. Basically just templates with layouts, um, like specific predefined layouts. We then have universal content, which I'll show you what that means as well. And then you also are going to want to make sure that you design this with a mobile first mentality every single time. So 70 to 80% of all emails are going to be opened on a mobile device. And so you want to make sure that every single email that you send is basically responsive, which means when it shrinks down to mobile, it also kind of changes the layout of the email and makes it more mobile friendly. You're also going to want to make sure that it's basically all the text is in the like at the correct size so you can read it, you can actually see it on a mobile device, and all the pictures are loading correctly and everything like that. And then what we like to do is on a quarterly basis, we like to kind of refresh our templates and our universal content just to like keep everything kind of fresh and keep your subscribers kind of engaged over time and everything like that. After that, we're going to go into a Klaviyo build. That's where you actually build out the campaign inside of Klaviyo, and I'll show you all this, and I'll show you the process for doing all this. But you're basically going to set like subject line. You're going to pick who you're going to send it to, like the segment. Like I said, set the subject line, preview text, actually build out the email inside of Klaviyo, taking all the copy and things like that inside of Klaviyo. And then actually like getting to a point where you can schedule it, set up A/B tests if you want to. And what we do is we have a 23-point quality assurance checklist before we send any email campaign. And this is just to make sure things like that email earlier I talked about without a link. It's just to make sure things like that, like little things like that, don't ever happen ever. And so we use this checklist right here. I'll go over it really quickly so you can kind of steal it and use it for yourself here. So the first thing that we like to do, and this is kind of what I give you guys because Test Yet is basically it's a free email it's like a relatively cheaper email testing tool. And so I'll show you, I'll give you that option instead of using like Litmus or something, because Litmus is going to be way more expensive. But for your purposes, it's like you don't need to be using Litmus. It would just be honestly a waste of money. So just use Test Yet. I mean, that's how you spell it right there. So create a new test in Test Yet, and you just want to make sure that the email renders properly in multiple email clients. So that's like Gmail, that's like Outlook, that's like Yahoo, anything like that. Because each email client is going to have different standards for showing the email. And they're all going to have different weird things that you're going to have to adjust within the actual campaign there. The next thing you're going to want to make sure is that the email displays correctly in both light mode and dark mode. And so a lot of brands, again, forget about dark mode. I don't know the percentage of people that use dark mode, but I use dark mode, and I receive emails all the time that are just miscombobulated because you can't see things. Like the images they put are not conducive with the background anymore, or the logo they have is gone because it was one color, and now in dark mode it's the same color as the background, and so you got to make sure that things like that are good. So the next thing you can do is send yourself a test email in Klaviyo. And then if applicable, like if you have dynamic content or personalization within the email there, you just want to make sure that that's working as intended. And you want to make sure the email does not go to spam. So content test here. So you want to make sure the subject line is clear, engaging, and free of typos. You want to make sure the preview text complements the subject line and is also relevant and also free of typos there. You want to make sure the email body is free of spelling or grammatical errors. The call to action is clear, visible, and actionable. and links in the email direct to the correct landing pages. And again, we talked about that earlier, but we kind of double check this, and I'll show you. So the next thing is design. So you want to make sure the email displays correctly in both desktop and mobile. Like I said there, and really focus on having a mobile first design. I'm going to hit that home again. The fonts, colors, and styles match the brand guidelines. So this is like kind of on our end. This is like a double check to make sure that the client, that we have everything that matches the client's brand and everything like that. But obviously, if you're creating an email campaign, you're going to know your brand guidelines. You're going to know your fonts, colors, and styles. And so that's not as big of a deal for you guys, but still double check that. There's a lot of times where if your preferred font is navy, there's a lot of times when black font looks just like navy font and you kind of miss it. And that's not the end of the world, but if you want to run a clean, tight ship here, like just another double check that you can do there. You're going to want to make sure images are optimized for email. So that's like not super huge images. Like you don't want to do that. So like if you have to, shrink the size of the image before putting it in the email. Don't go over like 1 megabit with your images. It's going to make them load super slowly. And if at all, it might not even load on some email clients. So you want to make sure they load quickly, appear sharp, like they still look quality, and also include alt text if you want to. It's not 100% that you have to include alt text, but do it if you can. And then also spacing, padding, and alignment are all consistent across the board. So you want to make sure to double check that, especially on desktop and mobile. You want to make sure they're both good to go. And then we have a functionality check. So you just want to make sure all links, including buttons, images, and text, work properly. And so that's, again, that double check for the link. Social media icons direct to the correct profiles. The unsubscribe link is included in functional, so just compliance there. And then email complies with all legal requirements, so that like GDPR, can spam, and that might not mean anything to you, so you could likely get rid of that if it doesn't mean anything to you, but we put it in there. So final details, send date and time are appropriate for the target audience and align with the client's goals or your goals. The from name and email address are recognizable and branded. I recommend not doing something like no reply at Nike.com or something like that. I recommend you do something like hello at brandname.com or hi at brandname.com or something like more personable or something like that. Now, you can set your reply to email as like support at brand name if you want to, just to make sure all your support, all your incoming messages are directed to the same place. But definitely have that send email, something personable, recognizable, and branded. And then A/B tests are set up if applicable with clear goals. Tracking parameters are set up and turned on. Make sure you have UTM tracking on. Approval, so email has been reviewed and approved by all relevant stakeholders. So I don't know what that means inside of your company, but for us that means having a client approve it, obviously having the account manager approve it, um, things like that. So, and then optionally, you can have a backup team member double check the email for basically just fresh eyes. Make sure you got everything good to go. And that's our 23-point checklist for just making sure the email is perfect every single time. And then what we do after that is once everything's good to go, everything checks out, then we schedule or send the campaign. A lot of times we like to schedule the email in advance in case something comes up. We can change it, but if you're doing this on kind of a day-to-day basis, then you can just send the campaign. So now I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to go through, so copywriting, we talked about that. Design, this is where I'm going to show you some of the actual templates now that we have. So let's jump into Klaviyo, and this is just like a dummy demo account here, so nobody's data. And I'm going to show you some of the top campaign templates. I'm not going to show you all of them here, but I'm going to show you like some of the top. I think there's 7 of the top ones that are built on like best practices and everything like that. So let's take a look at this one. The first one is called an inverted pyramid. So this is probably the most used template in e-commerce email marketing and probably email marketing across the board. So let's check this out. So don't worry about total size there. I'll show you why that's so big. So this is the inverted pyramid right here. So we have the header section here. We have we have the hero section right here. So the hero section consists of a GIF in this case, and then the main headline or the H1 there. We have a little bit of body text and then a large CTA again. In a regular email, this would be above the fold there. In a regular preview mode there, or when like the actual email is sent. So button in the hero section, body text H1, and that's pretty much it. This is where we start our kind of fancy footer here that we have. So we've got like a little bit of a GIF with a slogan over like an image or something like that you could put for your brand. And what we did was we just created a fake outdoor brand with the High Camp logo on it and stuff like that for all these templates. Some brand images there, and then here's where you can like shop different collections. And so that's something like we like to do, get a little bit more clicks in the footer. And then we also have the social links right there, unsubscribe and then whatever. But the main thing here for the inverted pyramid is you can see it kind of forms like a pyramid right here, an inverted pyramid, literally, with the actual copy here. And so you can put this copy above the image. You can put it kind of within the image. And I'll show you like a little bit what I mean, like when we create the email for Patagonia. But this is kind of just one of your basic Klaviyo templates here that you can create without using like Figma or anything like that. And it's still going to be more effective than a lot of the brands' emails that I see going out. So there it is. And then a little bit of a guilty call to action there. And then campaign resources here. So this is why it's so big. I put these campaign resources in here. Basically, you just want to delete them before sending, but we have like a ChatGPT prompt here for each email, and it tells you exactly what we need. So we need a main header, we need a body text, we need a CTA button, and you can customize this basically for any for your brand. So my e-commerce brand is brand name. We sell product category. Our products are known for unique selling proposition, right? And then create a high converting email campaign, whatever. The tone of the voice should be insert brand tone of voice, keep the copy concise, engaging, and conversion focused. So that's a ChatGPT prompt you could use there for this email campaign specifically. And then here's where we were talking about universal content blocks earlier. I'm going to show you kind of the universal content blocks and what they are here. So basically, a universal content block is something that you can reuse on a regular basis for, you can make it once and then use it in a bunch of different email campaigns or flows or anything like that going forward. So a lot of the most common ones are like a testimonial section you could have where you could just basically, you create this section right here, and then you can just plop it in to any campaign, change the testimonials if you want to, or leave them the same, doesn't matter. Throw some images in there and some 5-star rating, and then whatever you want to put there, and then shop now. We also have a more singular focused testimonial section here that you can steal. This is basically just going to be kind of a little bit of a heavier or more designed here box with headline for the testimonial, and then brand or person name. You could say like verified buyer there. We have a why brand section, so kind of like a brand unique selling proposition section that you could put. So there's something like that. These are all things that you're going to maybe reuse on a regular basis that you're just going to want to have in your back pocket. So you can save time, and you can literally run this in 2 hours a week. You have a double column product showcase section. So Summit Fleece, Trail Flex Pack, shop now. And then you have a single column product showcase section. And again, you can just replace this with any product that you want. And then finally, we have like this offer or CTA section here that you can just reuse. So obviously you delete all this stuff before you send it. But this is just kind of an easy way to do it. So that's the inverted pyramid there. Now I'm going to quickly brush over the other most common layouts that we have. So like I said, we have a bunch of different layouts that we use, but I'm just going to show you the most common today. So single column layout. This is going to be good for like long form emails, or like educational emails, or like blog post emails, anything like that. So again, same style. So same style header, hero section image, H1, and then a little bit more body text this time. Call to action, H2, some more body text, a ghost button there, which is just some body text with a link, a hyperlink, and an arrow we put. And then you could put like an H3 and then some more body text. So and then you just have your standard footer there. But like I said, this is going to be good for more long form educational emails where you're trying to either answer a question or provide some educational resources or anything like that to your customers. So that's a single column layout. Now let's talk about a multi-column layout here. So multi-column layout is basically going to consist of, you have the same header, hero section, whatever. It's basically going to consist of a inverted pyramid at the top. So H1 body text call to action, but then it has three different columns here with an image, body text, ghost button. You could just put a regular button if you wanted to, and then it repeats 3 times. And then um, the big thing here with a multi-column layout, and then you just obviously have the footer, standard footer there. And then, so like I said, the biggest thing with a multi-column layout is like you would not want to send this as is right here for, because as is for like a mobile device, because it's going to be so small and you can't click anything and you can't see anything, you can't read anything. So this is where a responsive design comes into play. So when you click on mobile here, you can see basically everything's good to go. A little bit big, you can probably adjust the font there, make sure it's good. And then this is the multi-column section that I'm talking about on mobile. So it kind of shrinks into a single column stack again, and it stacks these things on top of each other. And so that is what you're going to want to do to make it mobile first and mobile friendly there. So that's the multi-column layout. Now let's talk about the F pattern layout here. So the F pattern layout, let's check this out. So standard header again, hero image, H1 left aligned this time. So body text, call to action left aligned. And then here's where the F pattern starts. So it's basically just going to be image, content, image, content, image, content, and then it's just going to repeat that 3 or 4 times there, however many times you want to do that. So H2, body text, ghost button, and this is a little bit shrunk down, but you basically just want to have like this incongruence here. So you want to have like the image the same height as the content there. If it was opened, it would be that way, but it's a little bit shrunk right now. And so that's the F pattern there, standard footer. And now we have the zigzag layout. Another favorite in e-commerce email marketing. A lot of people are using the zigzag layout here. So let's take a preview of this. Standard there, inverted pyramid at the top, you can see. And then it goes into a zigzag pattern here. So image on the right, image on the left, image on the right, image on the left. Again, you could do this 3 or 4 times repeating. And then content on the left, content on the right, whatever. H2, body text, ghost button. You get the point there. And then your standard footer again. So I recommend just creating a standard footer and having that be your footer across the board. And then we have a hybrid layout here. So let's check this one out. So left aligned text or information here. So H1 body text CTA again. And here we go. So now we got we have an H2. And it looks a little funky because it's shrunk down. Let me just pull this up a little bit so it's bigger. So here we go. So now you can see they're more aligned here. So image H3 because you have the H2 here. So smaller headline H3, body text, ghost button, and then just image, same thing here. And this is where like you could highlight your best sellers in a sale or your collections or anything like that. Just to drive those clicks. So that is the hybrid layout. Now let's talk about, what do we want to talk about now? So zigzag hybrid double column layout. Yeah, so I think this is the last one that I'll show you. Kind of the standard templates here. So double column layout. Again, standard up here, inverted pyramid at the top, H1 body text CTA, and then here we go, kind of like the multi-column, it's just a double column. So H2, and then we have image, H3, body text CTA, and then it repeats over here. And then again, you're going to want to make sure it's mobile friendly and stacks there responsively. So there we go. We've covered we basically covered the templates there. Universal content, we covered that as well. And we also covered what it looks like to create a mobile first email design there. So like I said, you're going to want to kind of refresh that. Like if you wanted to refresh your standard, like your footer across the board quarterly, that's just going to keep things fresh, keep your subscribers engaged, and keep them going. So that was that. Now we're going to jump into, because not every brand is going to want to use those Klaviyo templates, right? They're a little bit basic. There's not that much customization you can do. They are very, very solid and they will produce great results, but not every brand is going to want to use Klaviyo templates. A lot of brands are going to want these more graphic designed emails. They're going to want, cleaner looking visuals, cleaner transitions, things like that. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to jump inside of Figma, which is like the standard tool that we use for designs and everything like that. And I'm going to show you how to create a simple email for Patagonia. So let's jump into Figma here. And I already kind of stole an image off the internet that I like here. So I'm cheating a little bit. Um, and I'm not a Figma grandmaster here, so I'm probably doing some stuff that is like not best practice. I'm still learning Figma. Obviously, we have graphic designers and email designers that'll do this stuff for us, but here we go. So Figma consists of, well, here's what we use. Here's what I know for Figma. There's a frame. You put the frame down, and you want to make sure the frame is 600 width. That's the standard email design there. And then it doesn't really matter how long you make it. What we're going to do here is we're going to create a inverted pyramid email. So let's just try 1500, see if that looks good. Good to go. Okay. Let's make that a little bit longer actually. So we're going to create an inverted pyramid email for Patagonia here. So like I said, I have this image here that I liked. So what you would do is if you had like a lifestyle image like this, just throw your logo at the top, and you can kind of just blend that header and hero section into one there. But here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna throw this at the top here, and we're gonna shrink it down to make sure everything's good. I wish I could sit here and show you all the ins and outs of Figma, but I'm not the absolute grandmaster here at Figma, like I said. Maybe I will be someday. I like learning it. Um, so let's see here, just make sure that that's all aligned. Make sure everything's good there. So there we go. We have that right there, right? All right, so we have the header and hero section here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a uh, a rectangle here, put it at the bottom of this, drag it down a little bit, and here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to make this white, so I guess it's already white, but I just want to keep this all aligned so we can align the text later. And I'll just make it like, let me just make the background here like a little bit gray so we can see the difference. So there we go. So I have this, it's now white. There's probably some like grand wizardry you could do here to blend this image into this so that it's all congruent and looks awesome. But for now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to have this. We're going to keep creating the inverted pyramid here. So what I'm going to do is throw some text here, and let's just say heading 1 for now. And we'll just increase the size of this to like 64. That sounds good. We'll just align this. And now let's just duplicate that. And we're going to shrink this back down, probably like 20, yeah, 20 looks good. And again, you want to make sure that um, you want to just make sure that the text is going to be easy enough to read on mobile. And so what I'm going to do for now is I'm just going to take some of this lorem ipsum text and throw it on here. And let's see here. So can we wrap that? Let's see. So I'm just going to have to go grab it here. Go grab it. Do not make fun of my Figma skills here. And here we go. So we're going to center align that. And you're not going to want to really have that much text, especially if it's that big. So there we go. And then we're going to want to also create a button here. So again, I'm just going to create a rectangle. There's a couple different ways you could do this. But I'm just going to create a rectangle for now. And then duplicate this text and shrink that down. And basically just want to, so where is this? Just put that up above there in the alignment. And here we go. Let's shrink this down into the button. And we could probably get a little closer there. And we're just going to call this CTA for now, call to action. And just make this like a blue or whatever for now. And let's see here. There it is. Let's make this text white. And there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this uh, AI prompt here, ChatGPT prompt, and I'm going to throw it into the free version of ChatGPT here. And we're going to see what it comes up with for this campaign here. So Patagonia, we sell, what do we sell? We sell outdoor clothing. We sell high quality outdoor clothing and gear. Okay, my products are known for their durability, sustainability, and let's see, comfort, right? And then so it tells us exactly what we want to do. Create a high converting email campaign with let's do this, one big idea using an inverted pyramid layout. H1, the tone of voice should be, let's see, so empathetic, let's see, caring, and motivational. Now let's see what it comes up with here. All right, so the adventure you've been waiting for at prices that last. Nice, okay. So let's chuck that here. And again, don't make fun of me here. There's probably a different way you could do this, but here's what we got going on. So we're gonna obviously want to make this a little bit smaller now. Bring all this stuff down. CTA, boom, 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 boom. And now let's center align that. So the adventure you've been waiting for at prices that last. Now, obviously, you're going to want to really, copywriting is actually a huge important part. And you're going to want to make sure all the copy is, clean and actually actually has value behind it. And so you're going to want to like double check all this stuff and really focus on it. But for this, we're just going to kind of go with what we got. But what I would recommend is don't just take exactly what ChatGPT gives you. Definitely do your own like kind of audit of it and stuff. Let's say make the body text shorter. So get ready for your next adventure with exclusive savings on Patagonia's durable, sustainable outdoor gear. Whether hiking or climbing, our gear is built to last and keep you comfortable. Hurry, the sale won't last long. So some sort of sale here. And what we can do here is just drop the text size and make sure that's aligned center. And here we go. So that we got to bring down again. So now we have that. And let's just say, so what was the CTA up here? So shop now and save. Okay. Shop now and save or something like that. And what you could do is you could kind of like lock this, highlight all this, make sure that's all center aligned. Again, there's probably some better way to do that, but there we go. That's what we got going right now. So the venture you've been waiting for, and then that's pretty much it for like an inverted pyramid there. Then you could put like your standard footer here inside of Klaviyo. So I'll just say like standard, I'll just say like Klaviyo footer here, and that will just be like whatever. You have a template for your footer. And there you go. You have a campaign in like 5 to 10 minutes there. Now, obviously, this isn't like the perfect best campaign ever, and you could definitely do some configurations on this to make it a lot better. But this is a little bit of a tutorial on Figma for you. Obviously, you can sit down, you can learn Figma a little bit more than I can here, but what you can do after this to basically export this. So what you do is you just take a slice here at the bottom, and you can go up here, and you want to like slice it into different parts of the email that would probably be like take up a lot of space. Like they would be pretty big files. So like this would probably be a pretty big file if it was like a super high quality image. You could break up this into one slice here. You could click export. I like to do 2x just to increase the quality a little bit more. And then you could hit export slice, do the same thing for like this section, do the same thing for this section, and so on for all the sections that you have there. And then what you would do is you would come back into Klaviyo, and so let's do like a clone here. So we're gonna do like test. And so actually what we're gonna do is I'm actually just gonna walk you through creating a campaign now inside of Klaviyo. So we'll go into Klaviyo, create campaign, and we'll just say like test campaign here. Continue. Obviously, you're gonna select email. You're gonna select your segment here, and then you're gonna select your exclude segments. I've talked about those in a couple of different videos. Enable UTM tracking, and click next. And so here's where you're going to basically configure some of your different aspects of your email. So subject line, preview text, sender email, and then reply to address if it's like your support line or something like that. We just created this test campaign here, so we'll use that. And that's just how simple it is. Like you can literally just select the template that you've already made. Your footer's already in there. All you have to do is like literally change the main headline here. And so what we'll do is we'll just come back into this email. We're just gonna build this out in here. We could just do this, boom, boom, the adventure you've been waiting for. Like this is how like simple it can be. It does not have to be like anything like crazy. But obviously you want to still make them like high quality and stuff. But people just make it harder than it has to be, man. And then we have shop now. So here, shop. Geez, can't spell. Okay. So shop now. And then, I mean, you literally have, if you have all the links in here for your footer and everything, which you want to make sure you do, that is literally and then you just obviously replace this image here with whatever image that you want to use there. So if we were just going to use that Patagonia one, we just basically put that image in here, right? And so let's see. So that's a different section. What I'll do for this one is I'll just move that, and we'll just delete this section if it loads. And so if we can delete that spacer now. Nope, we don't want to delete that. So delete spacer. And then let's see here. Let's see if we can actually get in here and do this right now. So I got that picture saved. Perfect. And you could probably add a little bit of margin there between the text and everything. And then you have the rest of your footer there and everything. So what you would want to do here is make sure the link address has a link in it for the image. Make sure the call to action here has a link address in there, and then make sure any other images here have link addresses, and then obviously link your buttons down here if you want to do that. But when you're good to go, you basically just come out here, you set like a subject line, you set preview text, and you could create A/B tests if you wanted to. So show you what that means. So now what it did was it gives you two options: test content or test send time, and it gives you two variations already. So test campaign variation A and test campaign variation B. So what you could do is just subject line 1 if you wanted to test like open rate, and subject line 2, test one variable at a time. Do not test the subject line and the preview text in the same A/B test. You want to select the winning metric down here, and you can set a test size here. So let's say that you wanted to just send to 50%. You wanted to send the test to just 50% of your segment. It's going to split the test between 25% and 25%, and then it's going to send the winning variable to the other 50%, which is pretty powerful. I'd recommend doing this over like 24 hours. So like send it the same time one day and then same time the next day or something like that, just to make sure you have enough data to test there. But then you just click next. And here's where it's going to come to the kind of final screen here. You could add a follow-up email if the A/B test isn't active. And what that's going to do is just it's going to send an email to people that did not open the email. So it's just going to create you're going to create a different subject line for that email, and it's going to resend it like 48 hours later to people who didn't open. And so it's going to look like a new email basically into their inbox. You want to double check everything there, and then you can hit schedule or send. Like I said, we schedule, and you have a couple different options. You'll probably have a couple different options on your account because this is a free account for this. Fixed send time, date, and then schedule for whatever time you want to schedule at, and then you can basically just hit schedule campaign there, and you're good to go. And so that was the video there. We touched on a couple of different things here. We talked about like what type of campaigns to send again. So the 70% value, 30% sales. How often to send them, 3 to 4 times a week. The 80-20 rule, just focus on one big idea in your emails and have a call to action in the above the fold section. We talked about our process for building high converting campaigns from scratch. I showed you that case study kind of. I showed you our quality assurance checklist. So just it gets a little bit mundane doing that quality assurance checklist over and over again. Like we all know, it sucks. But that's how you get a consistent quality product every single time. And what is it going to take you? It's going to take you 5-10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes to do every single email campaign. And it's these email campaigns, like they're actually super important. Like they generate you thousands and thousands of dollars on a consistent basis. And so taking 5 to 10 minutes to make sure everything's good is not the end of the world. I showed you 7 different campaign templates that you can kind of redesign there. Um, I also we somewhat built that email for Patagonia inside of Figma. So I showed you like a little bit of how to use Figma. I showed you the slicing tool, the frame tool, a couple of the different tools there. Um, Again, I'm not the best in the world at Figma, but you guys might be better than me. My designers are really good. They crush it every single time. I showed you how to build the same template inside of Figma. I showed you how to export the emails from Figma. And then I showed you how to create the actual campaign inside of Klaviyo. And so what can you do now? Now you can, I'll put a link in the description here. And what we're doing is we're basically installing these Klaviyo templates, these campaign Klaviyo templates into people's accounts right now for free. And so I'm not sure how long we're going to do this for, but if you go down there, you click the link, you can apply, see if you qualify, and if you do qualify, we'll install those templates right into your Klaviyo account for free. You know, a lot of people will charge money, a lot of money for that stuff, but we really just want to help people out, and we want to help good brands succeed, and this is kind of our way of doing that. So yeah, that was that. Thanks for watching. I hope you got value out of this video, and we'll keep putting out hopefully weekly, maybe bi-weekly videos on e-commerce email marketing. But that's it for now. We'll see you in the next video.